This is CBC Here and Now.
She remains a member of the Liberal caucus. These are all issues that are behind us, and I'm looking to have a path forward collectively together.
Well, it's sniffle season. It happens towards the back end of September and through October every year.
The offshore is burning. It's a canary in the coal mine for the rest of the offshore, so it's a topic of extreme importance.
The House has reopened. A new premier watches from the wings. Back to school butts up against flu season and questions about the future of the offshore.
Well, I'm not surprised. I think the new executive has done an excellent job getting their house in order.
The Corner Brook Minor Hockey Association was in major financial woes after a lot of money went missing. But now their debt to the city is paid in full. I'll tell you what's going on.
2020 certainly has been an active hurricane season, so we'll talk a little bit about that.
Welcome to Here and Now. I'm Carolyn Stokes.
And I'm Peter Cowan, live at Confederation Building, where it's not just back to class, it's back to work for the politicians here at the legislature, with all those topics up for discussion. And let's get straight to the first one. That's the future of Sherry Gambin-Walsh. The former cabinet minister has been cleared of criminal charges, but we now know what her future looks like within the government. Mark Quinn has that story.
Placentia St. Mary's MHA Sherry Gambin-Walsh was at the House of Assembly today. The Premier said they met over the weekend, and he told her she won't be returning to cabinet.
The cabinet I have is the cabinet.
Gambin-Walsh isn't being charged with breaching trust, but a police investigation found she did ultimately share cabinet information. And that's why Fury says he's keeping her out.
Because the RCMP found that she broke cabinet confidence.
Fury also said MHA Eddie Joyce, who was removed from the Liberal caucus after accusations of bullying, isn't being invited back because he's suing members of the Liberal caucus. Last week, the RCMP said its investigation found Gambin-Walsh did leak cabinet information about Royal Newfoundland Constabulary promotions to a friend who is an RNC officer. The RCMP said no one benefited from the leak and no charges were laid because a conviction is unlikely. Gambin-Walsh was asked to scrum with reporters today, but declined. The Progressive Conservative leader was also asked if Gambin-Walsh would be welcome in his party.
That's a hypothetical question. I've not had any such discussion, and as of right now, she's a member of the Liberal caucus, so it's entirely hypothetical. I've not been approached.
The NDP questioned the Premier's decision to keep Gambin-Walsh out of his cabinet.
She has not been found guilty, so the rationale for why you would not have a perfectly well-qualified former minister not included in your cabinet is well beyond me.
The Premier said he's not opposed to Gambin-Walsh running in the next election, and she issued a statement last week saying she will continue to advocate for her constituents. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
It's unusual to have the legislature sitting this early. The reason, though, is they need to give permission for government to spend more money. Basically, at the end of the month, there'll be no more money, so they have to pass what's called interim supply. And we heard today from the Premier, who of course wasn't in the legislature, he doesn't have a seat, but he was saying they're going to need 3 more months of spending to make sure a budget gets passed. Here is why he said it's needed.
I want to plan to ensure that we have the money in place to ensure the continued operations of government during a robust, healthy, lengthy, appropriate budget debate.
So the issue, though, is they're going to need some support in order to get this passed. They're in a minority situation. That's actually one of the reasons they want a longer extension, because you never know what can happen in a minority government. We heard today, though, from the PCs, they don't want to give government that much time. They're looking for a much shorter extension.
Now it's time for the government to be kept on a short leash. If, in fact, 30 days, let's say, is not enough, we can certainly look at giving an extension to that. But to be asking for 3 months right now is overreaching.
Because the government doesn't have a majority, they are going to need to convince at least 2 MHAs on the other side that that 3-month extension is needed. Otherwise, there's going to have to be some amendments and probably a little bit of haggling in order to figure out what the opposition will live with. Of course, it's not just about passing legislation. Question period resumes as well. One of the big topics was oil and gas. And I'll be back a little later in the show to tell you a little bit about that exchange and some of the issues that are being focused on here today.
All right, great. Thanks so much, Peter. Well, staying with politics, another name has been thrown into the ring for the fight for Humber Gross Mourne. The seat was previously held by former Premier Dwight Ball, and now Premier Andrew Furey hopes to win it, and so does Graham Downey Sutton. Downey Sutton is running for the province's new Democratic Party. He lives in Brook and says he has family connections to Deer Lake. Downey Sutton holds a nursing degree from Western Regional School of Nursing and is now completing a Bachelor of Social Work. He spoke with CBC back in February while protesting a proposed gas pipeline on Wet'suwet'en territory. Downey Sutton is employed as a developmental support worker. Well, still on the West Coast, the Brook Minor Hockey Association no longer has a massive debt hanging over its head. A year and a half ago, the volunteer-run board was struggling. Debts were unpaid and tens of thousands of dollars were missing. As Here and Now's Colleen Connors will explain, one woman now faces fraud charges while a new executive has picked up the pieces.
The Hockey Association is about to start its fall season on September 28th, completely debt-free. In a Facebook post last week, the group announced it's already paid the city back $75,000 in overdue bills for ice time. A new treasurer came on a year ago and says fundraising played a big part in paying off the debt.
We eliminated certain positions that were within Minor Hockey Association in order to cut a little bit of cost, some extra fundraising initiatives. We also closely watched our money, so we sort of switched from a one-person approach to a team approach. And it just we better overall manages all the finances for minor hockey.
A year and a half ago, the previous executive found the unpaid bills, as well as about $90,000 missing. That's when they flagged it for police. In the fall, the association's former treasurer was charged with 6 offenses, including fraud, forging documents, and theft. Harview got involved about a year ago, and the association paid $75,000 to the city a year earlier than expected.
Well, I'm not surprised. I think the new executive has done an excellent job getting their house in order and figuring out the best way to sort of recover money. And when they came to us and offered us the ability to pay it off early, it was great for everyone.
Registration for this year's season started early, online, and Harview says membership numbers are the same as past years, even with all the money troubles.
You know, I have 2 kids in minor hockey as well, so it's important for me to keep the parents in the loop and relay all that information, let them know, okay, this is where your money's going. So I can understand if parents do still feel nervous, and hopefully the way we've done things over the past year will sort of ease some of those concerns.
As for how all this money went missing to begin with, well, the former treasurer, Melissa Williams, faces charges of stealing money and several cases of fraud. Now, she has a court appearance at the courthouse behind me here later in October. It's a preliminary inquiry, and that will determine if she will stand trial. Colleen Connors, CBC News, Brook.
Well, RNC officer Doug Snellgrove is back in court this week being retried on a sexual assault charge. But as Malone Mullen explains, a jury trial during a pandemic means some unusual adaptations.
It's an odd place to see a stream of potential jurors. They head through these doors here into a gymnasium where they're seated 6 feet apart. But this isn't the Supreme Court, it's the School for the Deaf in St. John's.
It's a makeshift Supreme Court courtroom with a witness stand and judge's bench, even a portrait of the Queen. But because of physical distancing rules, the public and the media still have to stay outside. We've been watching the jury selection from a video feed. Today, lots of people asked for work-related exemptions, fallout from a changing economy due to COVID-19. This is the first jury trial in Newfoundland and Labrador since the pandemic began. Those who are chosen will decide whether there's enough evidence to convict the St. John's police officer who's standing trial here this week. RNC officer Doug Snellgrove was on duty at the time of the alleged assault in December 2014. He was arrested and charged the year after, and first stood trial in 2017. Then an appeals court overturned that verdict, saying the judge erred in her instructions to the jury. For this trial, prosecutor Lloyd Strickland said the court will argue that Snellgrove's position of authority as a police officer invalidates consent. But we can't tell you much else. That's because by law, media can't report any details from the previous trial.
So new judge, new jury, it's somewhat of a clean slate this week for legal arguments and evidence. But for Snellgrove, even though he's facing the same charge, it'll be in front of largely unfamiliar faces. Malone Mullen, CBC News, St. John's.
Police have arrested and charged a 38-year-old with lighting a gas station on fire on Main Street in Stephenville. The RCMP say they arrived on the scene at about 1:30 this morning, where they found the suspect suffering from burns. According to police, the man used gas from the station to ignite the fire. He was transported to hospital, treated for his injuries, and later released from custody on a number of conditions. The accused has been charged with arson and is due in court next month. Well, the future of the gas station in Rigolette is once again uncertain. The Nunatsiavut group of companies has announced the business will close at the end of the month. Although some people in the community saw it coming, they still feel it's a hard time to end operations.
It's a really poor time because it's hunting season and berry picking season, so a lot of people's not going to be able to go out and to gather that stuff without the gas. And I mean, everyone can't afford to stock up on the gas either, so it puts the community in a hard position.
She plans to stockpile gas before the station closes, but she worries about how long that will last. Storage is one of the main concerns for former Rigolette Anyakok, Jack Shawak. He says getting to the nearest community will take 6 hours by snowmobile, and he's worried late river freeze-ups may prevent people from making the trip.
There's no way that anybody can store that much gas and oil to put them through a winter. And if it means having to travel to the nearest community, which is Northwest River, you take a day out of your life to do that. I'm optimistic that something will happen and we'll be okay.
Well, a weather watcher is on the lookout for brazen backyard thieves. Kelly Butt says someone stole a $2,000 weather station from his backyard in St. John's. He used the sophisticated weather tool for forecasting and to send helpful data to Environment Canada.
Like I do every morning, I get up and check the weather. So I'm sitting there drinking my morning coffee like most folks do, and I open up my phone and check to see what the temperature is, because it has online. This thing had online capability. I see that the weather station is not reporting any conditions. That's strange. So I come out here to have a look to see where it went, see what's wrong, and it's gone. A vehicle drove up to the fence, maybe 5.5 feet fence here to my right here. They drove up just to the right in a vehicle. My guess is probably a truck. They would have had to jump this fence, get over here, and I had the station positioned on a tripod here, and it was pegged pretty well into the ground. So they would have had to rip the pegs out of the ground, take this entire 7-8 foot station and lift it over the fence and put it in probably a pan of a truck. So it measured temperature, humidity, wind speed and direction, UV radiation, UV index. It's about $2,000 roughly for all the equipment, all the indoor equipment and outdoor equipment. But without the outdoor equipment, it's useless because you would need a console or something to receive this data. So without it, it's essentially useless. So whoever has this thing basically has a 7.5, 8 foot piece of metal and plastic. I've been doing it now for about 10 years. I occasionally send my data to Environment Canada to kind of assist different weather watchers in the area to fill in the gap, if you will, because everybody knows that there are only a few official stations, so it's nice to have some volunteer stations in the area to fill in that gap to have better data. The attention this has gotten over the last week has blown my mind. I just wanted to put it out there and put it online and say maybe anybody has seen this thing, and now
it's just so discouraging to realize that just no respect for people's personal property anymore. I was really disappointed. We mentioned it in Twitter. I'd say maybe somebody should set up a GoFundMe account, and we're like, well, you know what? I'm going to do it. You know, I'll be that somebody.
Thank you to everybody who's donated. It's amazing. Once I get this thing, it'll be back up and running in hopefully no time. Definitely going to have some security cameras with it next time. But yeah, it's amazing. I don't even know. I think the last checked it was $1,700 or something. So it's getting pretty close to being able to go out and buy this thing again.
That's good. Well, the City of St. John's has extended patio season following the successful pedestrian mall and the demand for more outdoor spaces. Bars and restaurants all over the city can stay open another month.
It's an opportunity for the businesses to continue to capitalize on some more space, and we all know how that's important right now.
Earlier this afternoon, Council fast-tracked a notice of motion by Debbie Hanlon to lengthen patio season from September 30th to November 1st. The extra month means establishments with decks can keep them open into the fall. While originally aimed at the patios that popped up in the downtown, Council extended it to any business with a deck. It comes into effect immediately.
We want to give the businesses more opportunities to get some revenue at this time of year. It's you know, it's a challenge, and one thing about this pandemic that's created challenges for us is the unknown. So we don't know where we're going to be with any certainty into the future. So it gives businesses an opportunity with the expanded capacities that the decks provide. That if the weather cooperates and people are interested, that it gives them another option to get some much needed revenue.
It's the middle of September and we could see some snow in parts of Labrador as we head through the night tonight, even into tomorrow, but some above seasonal temperatures as well on the way for parts of the province. I will have all those details and a look ahead at the 5-day forecast when I come back.
This weather forecast is brought to you by Newfoundland and Labrador Tourism. Take the time to explore this fall. Learn more at stayhomeyear.ca.
Ashley is here now with a look at the weather forecast. So Ashley, we are in the height of hurricane season. I'm sure you're keeping a very close eye on everything that's happening. What's the situation right now with hurricanes?
It is, yeah. So like you said, we're at the height of the hurricane season right now, and as of today, there are 5 tropical cyclones sitting in the Atlantic Basin. Let's take a look at where they are right now. We've got Vicky and Teddy, who formed earlier today, and this, because there's 5 tropical cyclones in the Atlantic Basin, that has only happened one other time, and that was back in September 1971. So the other thing to note from today is that Vicky is the earliest 20th Atlantic cyclone name on record, and the previous record was in 2005, where they had 28 named storms. So with these storms, the hurricane names go through a list of 21 storms. 6 of these lists are reused all the time. They don't use Q, U, X, Y, and Z, and that's because there aren't that many common names that use those letters. But you can see we only have one left there, and after this, if we go anywhere past that, then we start using the Greek alphabet to go through those lists. So the only other time that we saw that, like I said, was in 2005, and there were 28 named storms that year. So certainly an active season. Right now we do have, like I said, 5 of them on the go right now. We do have an area of low pressure that is affecting us now. That is because we're seeing these showers, and then you see that ridge of high pressure in behind us, and then that's Paulette there down to the south. So that ridge of high pressure is going to move in and keep Paulette well south of Newfoundland. The only impacts we'll probably see are just some high waves as we head into Wednesday and Thursday. But that ridge of high pressure and the way that the jet stream is leading to the warm weather that we're seeing right now. Certainly this humid weather. It's 19 degrees in St. John's this afternoon, 20 in Badger, 18 in Corner Brook. And then with the humidity, it's feeling closer to 26 with that humidex. So we're certainly seeing all of that moisture move in. But as we head through the overnight tonight, that ridge of high pressure is going to move in, and that's going to bring in some drier air with it. And note, Lab West there and areas in the north, we'll see the potential for a few flurries tonight as the temperature dips within a few degrees of zero. And then we're just looking at some drizzle, cloud cover, and the potential for showers continuing for most of the evening and overnight tonight in the east. And then we should see some clearing skies with that as well. But these winds will stay a little brisk. So we're looking at generally west or west-southwesterlies across the island, and anywhere from 40 to 50 kilometer per hour winds with temperatures in the single digits, just double digits along the south coast. And there's your temperature, 2 degrees for Lab City, but the winds will be strong. So you're looking at west-northwesterlies tonight, anywhere from 60 to as much as 80 kilometers per hour. And then as we head through the day tomorrow, that ridge of high pressure very much in place. We will see the potential for a few showers again across most of Labrador. Southeastern portions, you get into that ridge of high pressure, so you're looking at a little bit more sunshine in play. And then Paulette will scoot south of us, so could see some high cloud more than likely for the Avalon tomorrow late afternoon and into the evening hours. But overall, pretty much lots of sunshine in play, but as that ridge moves in, like I said, it'll bring in some cooler, drier air temperatures in the teens. This is around seasonal for this time of year, and those winds will be out of the west or west-northwest, about 30 to 50 kilometer per hour. Through the day, and then strong again up through Labrador as well. So 7 degrees will be your afternoon high in Lab City and 14 in Mary's Harbor. So as we head into Wednesday, the next weather maker will move in. It'll bring some showers and eventually some cloud cover late day for western portions of the island. And then that will continue to move through into Thursday. And then back into that southerly flow. So that means temperatures are going to climb again as we move into the middle of the week. So 14 to 17 degrees for your Wednesday. Again, that cloud cover moving in late day, staying unsettled up through Labrador. But then look at what happens on Thursday. So temperatures back into that 20-degree range, a little bit unsettled along the west coast, though, with that potential for some showers. And that's pretty much going to make its way towards eastern areas of the island as we head into Friday and Saturday. So it is looking a little bit unsettled, but overnight temperatures really not moving much from Thursday and Friday, but 20 degrees and then hovering around the 16-degree mark as you head into the overnight. And then for central Newfoundland, generally after Thursday, we're looking at those gray skies with the potential for some showers and then a drop in temperatures as we head towards the weekend. So back down into those single digits overnight. And then up through Labrador, you're looking at sunshine for the weekend, but temperatures getting really chilly overnight, 1 to 4 degrees. And then for western Labrador, overnight lows dipping into the minus single digits as we head into the end of the week. And then see there's a little bit more snow in the forecast for now. I wanted to share this lovely shot. Ed Breen sent us this great shot of Crooked Pond, a sunrise there. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Oh, and by the way, headed to the West Coast this week, or when I had a little bit of time off there. I really do understand why you guys say West Coast, best coast. If you have any photos to share with me, send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Back to school has been a tumultuous time for parents, teachers, and students. It's been less than a week of class, and some parents are saying their child already has symptoms. So what happens if your child gets sick? What's the process you should follow? Joining me now is a parent who's trying to figure that out. Katie Whalen, thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, you have a son who just started grade 1 and he's off sick today. Can you walk us through the steps you've had to take since you first noticed his symptoms?
Yeah, well, Saturday we noticed that he was very sniffly. Yeah, I didn't think much of it. We were just like, probably just common cold. But he went out and played at the park for a little bit and he came back in saying he wanted to go to bed. He said he was not only very sniffly, but he had a really bad cough, and he said he was really achy and really tired. So, with the pandemic, the first thing that went through our mind was, let's get the sheet out that was given to him the first day of school, the checklist. So we checked the checklist, and he had at least 2 symptoms. So we said, okay, well, let's call the health line. We called the 811 health line, and the nurse was really friendly. She basically said to us, here is 2 numbers. This is a local number and a 1-800 number. Both numbers should work. Call them tomorrow, which would have been yesterday, Sunday. She explained to us, if he wakes up Monday morning, so today, and he is 100% feeling better, wait an extra 24 hours before sending him to school, which is what we were going to do, but today he's still not feeling well, so he's not going back tomorrow. They did explain, call the scheduling doctor, the scheduling people to schedule him for a COVID test. But when we tried calling, there was absolutely no answer. Being put on hold for about 5-6 hours throughout the day yesterday between me and his father. And then this morning when we tried calling them, it was more so a message saying, hi, right now we've had an influx of calls, so please try again later.
So after 2 days of calling, you still haven't been able to reach anyone to schedule a test?
Yeah, pretty much. It's still been a waiting game. Still trying to call them all day, and still nothing.
And you were told that if your son no longer has symptoms, then within 24 hours you can send him back to school without needing a test, and that you can make that judgment call. Is there anything about that scenario that worries you?
I don't feel comfortable with that solution. It's basically like, if you feel comfortable as a parent to send them to school, if they look fine to you, then send them to school. But even if they look fine, doesn't mean that they are fine. They could still be spreading the germs. And, they could have been exposed to the virus. Maybe they haven't been. But there's still that possibility that, they could be, exposed to it. And they could be carriers of it.
What do you make of this process that you have to follow? Hours waiting on the phone? How frustrating is this situation for you?
Oh, it's incredibly frustrating. I mean, of course, like the health and safety of our children is top priority. But then it's just like when you're trying to find out answers and you're not getting those answers, it's like you don't know like what you should be doing. You don't know if your child is going to be okay. Like you don't know if it's spread it already. If there is a virus, you just don't know. It's all sorts of uncertainty. There needs to be something better in place, like maybe more staff on to answer the calls, to do the scheduling, or maybe more nurses to do those like tests.
Well, Katie Whalen, good luck with it, and thank you so much for sharing your experience with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's bring Peter back in. So Peter, you asked the health minister, John Haggie, about sick and symptomatic students earlier today. What did he have to say about that?
He's not happy with the wait times that parents have been seeing because, of course, the other thing that's happening right now is rotational workers are also able to start getting tested. So that's added extra strain onto the system right at back to school time. Here is some of what he said this afternoon.
Well, it's sniffle season. It happens towards the back end of September and through October every year. We've never really had a handle on the magnitude of it from the Department of Health because it's never really been a healthcare system issue until this year. And I think everyone's kind of frightened of COVID. On average, up until today, our wait time, as it were, from contacting a regional health authority to getting the test was less than 24 hours. The system is that you call 811 and they will then triage your call, and if a contact with public health is appropriate, they will then provide you with that number. The challenge we're experiencing at the moment is really with one regional health authority, which is Eastern Health at the moment. And at the end of last week, they had a surge. Again, it was the rotational worker piece. And I think you're right, you're seeing some of the sniffles starting. It became apparent over the weekend that despite the fact that they've added resources, we're hearing complaints about wait times. So they are doing two things. One is they're changing their phone system so that in the very near future, you will have your call triage. So, if you are a rotational worker, press 1. If it's about symptoms, press 2. If you're a school student, press 3, that kind of thing. And they're increasing their staff. In actual fact, the CEO is in the department as we're speaking now to discuss what resources they need to match the demand.
What is an acceptable standard for you? Because I've heard, for example, from parents who ended up spending most of the afternoon on hold and waiting to try and get through. How should the system be offered?
Well, the system, certainly from the phone call point of view, should be speedier than that. I think it's only fair to say that every child with a sniffle will not necessarily get a COVID test. And I think some of this is going to have to be expectation management. The message is if your child has a sniffle, you don't send them to school. If they develop a sniffle at school, there has to be a way that you can repatriate that child back out of school. And again, the hold-up seems to be in Eastern Health, and it seems to be related to the public health mechanism, their call line, rather than public health staff themselves. So those are process issues, they're operational issues, and we're making sure that Eastern Health is on top of that.
The good news is there is capacity to do the actual tests, both the people to do the swabs and then the lab capacity. So Carolyn Haggie said that there wasn't any issue with actually getting those tests done.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Peter. Well, in Ontario, a sudden surge of COVID cases has many parents on edge about sending their kids back to school. In one of the worst hit regions just west of Toronto, thousands of parents have suddenly decided to switch their children to online learning. CBC's Farah Morelli has more.
Okay, and you want to make sure it's covering your nose. Jill Promoli has watched nervously as COVID-19 cases have rapidly increased in Peel region. She made the difficult decision to send her kids back to the classroom.
I've heard a lot of stories from friends where their class numbers started one way last week and have gone up just in recent days as things have changed and shuffled. Oh, you popped it off.
Promoli knows more than most that school safety is a matter of life and death. 4 years ago, her son Jude died after being infected with the flu. He caught it from his sister, who got it from a classmate.
For us, we've been sort of going through everything now with COVID-19, remembering that it's not just what happens in the classroom, it's what comes home again.
In just a week, 10,000 students in the Peel District School Board have moved from in-class to online learning, delaying the start of online classes.
That workplace outbreak?
The region's medical officer of health says most of the new cases are isolated to workplaces and social gatherings.
As opposed to really widespread propagated community transmission, which is more what we were seeing in March and April. So that tends to bring the risk down a bit more in returning children to in-person learning.
Peel isn't the only Ontario school board where parents have recently decided to shift their kids to online learning. The Dufferin Peel Catholic District School Board saw an increase of 3,500 students since late August, and in Hamilton Wentworth, the numbers jumped by 2,000 students. This infectious disease specialist believes the risk of in-class learning is manageable.
All the countries that have really good data on school return, schools are not the drivers of community transmission. It's the community that's the issue.
Because she's a caterpillar, right?
Promoli's kids start their first full day in class this week, and watching the numbers isn't making that decision any easier. Farah Morali, CBC News, Toronto.
The big topic at question period today at the legislature, all about oil and gas and what's the province doing to help the industry. I'll have more coming up. Welcome back to Here and Now. The pandemic
Mr. Speaker, I heard from a husband and wife from Conception Harbour who worked in the offshore industry, who both now have lost their jobs and do not know where to turn. Mr. Speaker, this is one case of thousands in our province. What do you say, Minister, to this disheartened family who do not want to leave their beloved province and yet feel forced to leave in pursuit of meaningful employment?
The first thing that I'd say to this family is that I empathize with them, and that I understand the pain that they're going through, and that we are trying everything we can as elected officials to make this better. The reality is that this whole world, this whole globe has been turned upside down by the impacts of COVID and what's going on in the oil industry. And certainly as a province that is heavily reliant on oil, we are facing it perhaps more than others as it relates to our side. What I can tell this couple, and what I would be happy to tell this couple, is that I go to bed every night thinking about this, and I wake up every morning thinking about this and knowing that we are trying our best to make this better, but it's going to take more than just the provincial government. It's going to take us working together with everybody, including the federal government and the operators. Thank you.
And apologies there, we lost Peter Cowan due to some technical difficulties. Well, shifting to politics outside of our province, New Brunswick has become the first province to hold a general election during the pandemic. Voting is underway and continues until 8:30 Island time. The CBC's Brett Ruskin has this report on how COVID has changed voting and campaigning.
Polls opened this morning, and so far things are moving along fairly smoothly. There are certainly new protocols in place for this unprecedented election. There is a requirement to maintain that 2 meters of distance between each voter. There's masks and hand sanitizer everywhere. You have to ensure that you sanitize your hands as you come and go. There is one way of traffic direction. You go in one door and out the other. Also, there has been an interest so far in this campaign in that early voting opportunity, those advance polls. We have seen record-breaking numbers of New Brunswickers casting their ballots on those advance polling days. In fact, 133,000 voters cast their ballots. That's up from around 88,000 that previously that was the record for advance polls. So it'll be interesting to see if that means that more people are interested generally and we see a higher voter turnout overall, or if those are folks who are taking advantage of the typically less crowded, less busy opportunities to vote. Now, that's on the voting side. On the campaigning side and the candidate side, we have seen lots of different strategies in terms of how to get various parties' messages out. Whether or not parties choose to do door-to-door campaigning, knocking and ringing doorbells, having those face-to-face interactions. The Progressive Conservatives and Liberals chose not to do that as a party. The Green Party did opt for that door knocking, that doorbell ringing, but had the stipulation that they had to sanitize their hands before and after every single door. So that slows things down a little bit. It will be interesting at the end of the day, at the end of today, to see which strategies may have worked, which strategies may not have worked. An unprecedented campaign that will be watched all across the country to see what the results are from this New Brunswick election. Brett Ruskin, CBC News, Fredericton.
Well, staying with national news, the sister of the woman killed in last year's boat crash involving Kevin O'Leary and his wife is speaking publicly for the first time. Paula Brito says she's frustrated with the justice system, and 1 year after the crash, her family still isn't any closer to finding out what happened that night. Katie Nicholson has that CBC News exclusive interview.
Paula Brito arranges flowers next to a picture of her sister, Susanna.
She's the first person that we think of each morning and the last person before we go to sleep.
It's been a year since the mother of 3 and another passenger were killed when the boat they were on was hit by another boat, driven by Linda O'Leary, wife of entrepreneur and former Dragon's Den star Kevin O'Leary. Brito filed a wrongful death suit against the O'Learys, Irv Edwards, who owned the other boat, and Richard Rue, who was behind the wheel. They all declined comment through their lawyers.
I feel that there hasn't been any accountability for what happened.
Court filings obtained by CBC News reveal the O'Learys, Rue, and Edwards filed separate motions under the Marine Liability Act, denying responsibility for the crash and asking the court to limit damages to $1 million. While those matters are before the court, all the other civil claims are on hold. But that didn't stop the O'Learys from filing a $3 million lawsuit against Rue and Edwards in May. It seeks $1 million for Linda O'Leary for pain and suffering and $2 million for Kevin O'Leary for loss of income.
You know, so it's almost like a slap in the wrist for them and a slap in the face for the families.
After the crash, Linda O'Leary was charged with careless operation of a vessel under the Canada Shipping Act. Rue was charged with failing to exhibit a navigation light. Those cases are also still in process, and the police and the Crown aren't sharing information with the families.
We're in the dark. We don't have any information about what happened exactly that night.
And with so much of the legal action stalled in the courts, Brito is losing faith the families will ever get answers.
Money talks and the privilege walks. I think this is how we feel.
And for now, all they can do is wait and grieve in frustration. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Toronto.
Welcome back. Concerns are growing about the possibility of a second wave of COVID-19 cases in Canada. The country's two most populous provinces are reporting sharp increases, 276 in Quebec today, 313 in Ontario, the highest daily case count since early June.
I asked where are we seeing the cases, and the most common answer is social gatherings. It's not the bars per se or the restaurants, it's social gatherings. So folks, I'm begging you, please just cut out the social gatherings. It's just not worth it.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford says the province is prepared to do whatever it takes to fend off a second wave, including another round of shutdowns. As of today, there have been nearly 137,000 presumptive or confirmed cases of coronavirus in Canada. Well, failing to address the pandemic when it was identified as a risk has left the world in disarray. That's according to the authors of a new international report on preparedness.
The impact of COVID-19 is even worse than we anticipated. Everything humanity is currently doing to our planet makes another pandemic inevitable.
The Global Preparedness Monitoring Board says there is a failure to strengthen health and financial systems ahead of threats. Last year, the board warned heads of government about a lethal respiratory pathogen before COVID-19 even emerged in China. Preparing would have cost billions, says Brundtland. Now, the price of dealing with the problem is in the trillions. The head of the WHO compares the pandemic response to waiting for a town to burn down before recognizing the need for a fire department. Wildfires ravaging the western U.S. have left parts of BC, Alberta, and points farther east choking on smoke. And in one Oregon town, the fires have given a radically different meaning to the phrase painting the town red. You're looking at a thick blanket of fire retardant laid down in the town 40 kilometers north of the California border. Much of what fire crews are discovering looks apocalyptic, with blistered and charred subdivisions and trailer parks stretching for miles. Since the fires broke out in mid-August, 33 people have been killed across 3 states, 10 of them in Oregon. Wildfires and smoke are generating terrifying conditions in northwestern Spain as well. Residents in this town 200 kilometers north of the border with Portugal ran for their lives when the flames proved unstoppable yesterday. 11 different fires have generated dense smoke clouds. Military firefighters raced in to help. Officials say the fires are even more intense 50 kilometers south of the area. Well, thankfully, forest fire season in this province is nearing an end, and so far it seems less destructive than years past. Fire generally breaks out in Labrador or on some part of the island every summer. In 1961, it was Terentsville. Here's a report from the CBC's archives.
This is Terentsville, a town at the top of Fortune Bay, now almost deserted. 341 women and children fled the town in the face of heavy smoke from a fire which itself is not considered a threat to this town. But, as firefighters are the first to admit, anything can happen. Only 2 or 3 hours before the evacuation, the children were in school and the women were busy around their tidy homes in this well-kept town. Yet that night, they were 100 miles away. Terentsville is one of dozens of Newfoundland communities evacuated, and the people of this town are among the 3,000 people displaced by forest fires. The other evacuees have returned to their hometowns, and Terentsville is now the only one empty. Troops called in to help fight the fire are camped nearby. They were camped outside town earlier, but the smoke forced them to a beach. The area has not escaped the unusual. A plane took off from a highway here to take an observer over the fires. Much of the fire in this area now is in muskeg and bog, and this gives off a heavy smoke. The exceptionally dry weather in Newfoundland this summer, the main cause of the fires, has left bogs dry for the first time in years. The Newfoundland section of the Eastern Telephone and Telegraph's transatlantic cable is all in the path of this fire. Yet, although it is just 2.5 feet underground in some places, and the fire went 2 feet underground, the cable escaped. This smouldering turf, say firefighters, will smoke till winter snows come, and some may even outlive winter. Over 2,000 square miles of timber have been destroyed in Newfoundland since the fire started last June. The worst is over, but the danger remains. This is Doris Ferdy reporting in Terranceville.
Welcome back. Well, you had to be in the right place at the right time to catch this remarkable scene before daybreak today. This Northern Lights display in the northernmost region of Finland dazzled even seasoned photographers. In the early morning hours, lucky sky watchers were awestruck by the dancing and shimmering light. The show continued for hours. Just beautiful. Ashley is back with your weather recap. So Ashley, how is tomorrow shaping up?
And so after we get through tonight and the potential for some showers, everything should clear out for most of the afternoon tomorrow as a big ridge of high pressure moves in. That's also going to help keep Hurricane Paulette well south of the island tomorrow. However, we may see some high cloud move in late day certainly for areas in the east. But overall, we're just looking at the potential for a few wet flurries. Yes, wet flurries in the western portion of Labrador as well as the north. That'll change over to the chance of showers tomorrow afternoon as the temperatures climb, but only into the single digits for most of you, except along the strait where you get into that ridge of high pressure, and that means that most of the island and along the strait we'll see temperatures in the teens tomorrow afternoon.
Thanks so much, Ashley. Well, staying with the weather, people along the U.S. Gulf Coast are making final preparations for the arrival of Hurricane Sally.
Quite naturally, we get nervous. We had Katrina, and you know, every time a storm comes, it's always nerve-wracking a little bit.
No doubt. Sally was upgraded from a tropical storm earlier today and is expected to make landfall near New Orleans tomorrow. Hurricane, storm surge, and flash flood warnings have been issued for parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida. No doubt Ashley will be keeping an eye on that one as well. Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Hope you can come back with us again tomorrow. Good night.